Hi people, welcome back. So today what I'm going to discuss is the concept of Trigo ratio in the four quadrant. So if you can imagine, is that the four quadrant, each quadrant is 90 degree. So we are talking about when we are describing here is about how Trigo ratio change when a right angle triangle is being placed in the four different quadrant when it rotates 360 degree. So let's take a look. Okay, so the four quadrant as I have described is 90 degree each. So that's why 4 times 90 become 360. So the 0 degree starts from here. Do take note that the right angle triangle can rotate itself either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So when it rotate anti-clockwise, it will be positive degree. So if it rotate clockwise, it will be negative degree. So for today's session, we will only be discussing about rotating anti-clockwise, which is in the positive angle direction. So starting at 0 degree, so here 90, here 180, here 270, then it goes back to 0, will be 360. So let's dive in deeper to see how the Trigo ratio will change as the triangle rotate from first to second to third to fourth quadrant. So imagine we have the same right angle triangle, which is the 3, 4, 5 right angle triangle. Okay, well known. So take note, the line that will always be rotating around the quadrant will be the hypo, which for this case is 5. So for example here, okay, the hypo is 5 unit. So the right angle triangle being formed in the first quadrant. So for this, in the first quadrant, okay, this angle is the theta, and it happened that the theta is the same as the alpha, which is the basic angle, or sometimes in the books they call it the reference angle. They means the same thing. What's so unique or special about this basic angle is that this is the angle that enable us to find out the Trigo ratio as the hypo is rotated around the four quadrant. So for this case, okay, the theta and the basic angle is the same in the first quadrant. So for this case, sine theta will be the O over H, so it will be 4 over 5. Then cosine theta will be A over H, so it will be 3 over 5. Tangent theta will be O over A, so 4 over 3. So for all this, you can see all the Trigo ratio, they are all positive. So here, all positive. All positive. Okay, let's dive in deeper to the second quadrant. So for second quadrant, now the hypo is in the second quadrant, which is more than 90 degree to 180. So this is the hypo 5. This is the angle theta. So this is a right angle triangle. So here is 3, 4. This angle is still my alpha. Do take note, alpha is angle that the hypo form with the horizontal line, which is this line, the horizontal line, or horizontal line. Later you see the alpha will keep on appearing. So with this, in my second quadrant, okay, my sine theta, which now is an obtuse angle, will be positive O over H. Then my cosine theta will be equals to negative A over H. Then my tangent theta will be equals to negative 4 over 3. So do take note, over here, at this point, if you watch this video, you will be wondering, where do all the negative sign comes from? Because when you're the first time when you learn Trigo ratio, all is positive. The reason is when you learn Trigo ratio in the previous year, all the angle you use is acute, which means that they are in the first quadrant. But now in addition mathematics, the angle will always change. So we have to see what is the angle that hypo is rotated, then we'll be able to decide. So how do we know it's positive or negative? Okay. One rule of thumb is that you can think of any obtuse angle. Okay. For example, this case, second quadrant is obtuse angle. For example, you can use now key in your calculator, maybe sine 120. Do you get a positive value? Yes. Cosine 120, you get negative. Tangent 120, you also get negative. That's the reason why for cosine theta and tangent theta in second quadrant, we have a negative ratio. So for this, okay, sine positive. Okay, so here is sine positive. Okay, let's move on to the third quadrant. Third quadrant is here. Same thing, this is our hypo 5 unit. So the angle rotated is this theta. Alpha is still here, the angle that hypo forms with the horizontal line. This is my 3, 4, 5 triangle. This is my 0 degree. This is my 90. This is my 180. This is my 270. So this is the third quadrant. So third quadrant, my sine theta is still O over H, but it's negative. My cosine theta A over H, but it's negative. And my tangent theta is O over A, it's positive. Same issues is that if you key in calculator, you pick any angle that is in the third quadrant, which maybe pick 181. Okay, very close to 180. 181, you will know that sine 181 is negative, cosine 181 is negative, only tangent 181 then is positive. So this one, tangent positive. So this one, tangent positive. Okay, then to the last quadrant, fourth quadrant, same thing here, 0, 90, 180, 270. The hypo now rotate, the 5 unit hypo rotate to the fourth quadrant. So it's here, this is the theta, here is the alpha. So here will be 3, 4. So what happened is that now, okay, the sine theta, which is an angle more than 270 but less than 360, will be negative, still O over H. Cosine is positive now, A over H. Then my tangent is negative, O over A. Okay, so you can see for this case, cosine positive. So here, cosine positive. So if you combine everything in the 4 quadrant that I've went through, first quadrant, all Trigo ratio is positive. Second quadrant, sine is positive. Third quadrant, tangent is positive. Fourth quadrant, cosine is positive. So how I will recommend students to memorize this rather than every time key in the calculator. So over here, how to memorize this? A few ways. Okay, last time when I remember is just remember as ASTC, or some teachers will say add sugar to coffee. Or third one, some say that all science teachers crazy. So you can think of any ways you want to memorize. Just take note that why we need to memorize is because this will help us in applying the sign. All this ASTC only targeting the sign of the Trigo ratio. Okay, the sign, only the sign. The ratio wise, the fraction in other words, they always remain the same. Thank you.